If you're new to the gym and unsure what to do, forget about paying someone a bunch of money for some bullshit cookie cutter program that just takes advantage of beginners. Instead, I've put together a completely free blueprint to help you actually start training the right way. First, let's get started with volume and frequency. This is basically how much work you're doing and how often you're training. For beginners, I start with 2, maybe up to 3 full body workouts a week with 1 to 2 working sets per exercise. You're not going to need a ton of volume to grow early on. Your body will adapt to almost anything when you're brand new. Now, when it comes to reps, there's no single perfect number. Muscle growth or hypertrophy can happen anywhere between reps 5 up to 30. So it's not about chasing a magic rep range. It's about finding the range where you can actually feel the target muscle you're trying to work. You want to focus on big compound movements like squats, RDLs, overhead presses, dips or dumbbell presses, rows, and pull-ups. These are going to hit every major muscle group and teach you the movement patterns that everything else builds from. Also, the movements that you pick, keep them consistent for the entire phase. Don't switch exercises every week. Repeating the same movements allows you to actually master them, dial in your technique, and develop the neurological patterning that makes each rep more effective. The more familiar you get with your lifts, the better you execute them, the more muscle you're actually going to target when you train them. And that's how you'll see steady progress week to week. And if you're unsure how to perform these movements, scroll through my page or check out my YouTube. I've got full breakdown videos showing you exactly how to perform each one the right way. Next, you need to master your technique before you worry about progressive overload. So in your first training phase, don't worry about adding weight or reps to progressive overload. You'll grow through your entire phase because the stimulus is so new and you're getting better at developing this technique and pattern. So instead, make your first phase about mastering the technique and patterns. Spend those first few weeks rehearsing the movements, finding your positions, and really becoming a technician for each rep that you do before you start adding load. Once you do that, you'll actually be able to use the target muscle as the prime mover. So instead of just your whole body trying to survive the set, the muscle you're trying to train is the one taking the load. And that's when progressive overload starts to mean something, because now you're actually truly overloading the muscle, not just your body systemically. Now let's talk about the difference between moving a weight and training a muscle. Even if you can move a weight from A to B with full range of control, doesn't always mean you're maximizing the muscle you're intending to work. You might be moving a heavier weight because the other muscles are assisting. From the outside, it might look like perfect form, range of motion, and tempo, but internally, that target muscle isn't truly getting fully stimulated. You have to understand there's 2 ways to move a weight. 1, just moving it from A to B with whatever force possible. And then 2, actually using the muscle that you're trying to work, and that usually takes a more lighter, appropriate load because those other helper muscles aren't going to be taking over. And knowing that and applying that is what leads to better long-term growth. See, you can move a lot of weight over time and only get half the results if you let your ego drive your training instead of precision. Now let's talk about intensity and rest times. So when you're first starting out, you don't need to train all the way to failure. Stay about 2 to 3 reps shy of failure for your first week or 2. Focus on form, control, and intensity. And as your phase goes on, start closing that gap. Aim to be within 1 or 2 reps shy of failure by the middle weeks, and then by the end of your phase, push your lifts to all out true failure. Because that's how you actually learn your limits, by experiencing what true failure feels like, so you know how hard you're capable of pushing in your next phase. And as for rest times, I made a quick 2-minute video that breaks all that stuff down. Check the link in the description after this.